I would like to call the regular scheduled Fairfield County Council meeting to order Monday, October the 28th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in Winsboro, South Carolina. If everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge. Next, we are down to the approval of the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Let the record reflect 7-0 on approving the agenda. And before I pass the invocation to Councilman Roof, I know there's a lot of families that's struggling with sickness and death in their families. And I just want to take the time to say, you are in our thoughts and our prayers, and we wish you the best. Mr. Roof.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for everyone being here and allow us to gather together. Lord, just ask your blessings on this county and this country, and just be with all of us. And we ask that you guide and direct us as we make decisions for this county. Enable us to all work together, citizens and council, to move this county forward in a positive way. Lord, we also pray for those people that Mr. Pauly just mentioned that are going through these times and just struggling, and so many people are. Lord, just again, thank you for all the blessings you bestow upon us, and just ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Councilman Roof. Next, we are down to the approval of minutes for the regular meeting October the 14th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Let the record reflect 7-0 on approval of minutes. I do want to put on the record that we have Mr. Alex Hooks here tonight in place of Mr. Morgan. And Mr. Hooks, we welcome you to the big city of Winsboro, and glad you could make it tonight. Now we are down to item 6, public presentation. We have the Midland STEM Charter School presentation by Mr. Kevin Thomas.
Thank the council for allowing me to move my previous schedule here. When your son's going to join the Army one day, you don't need to be here on council the day before he did. So I appreciate y'all's flexibility and everything. Mr. Pauly, I appreciate you coming to our A Lapse of Love cancer fundraiser at Midland STEM Charter School on Friday. And we'll make sure we get an invitation out to everybody in the future as well. We'd love to have you guys at that. So thank y'all very much. To the next one. Again, my name is Kevin Thomas. If any of you don't know, and this is Dr. T.K. Kennedy. I'll be introducing him in a few minutes. He's the CEO of Midland STEM Charter Schools. We're excited to be here today. As you know, we're in Winsboro, South Carolina. That's where the school's been started. We've been here this is the start of our 11th year. Some of you may remember probably about 12, 13 years ago, I wrote an article in the local newspaper when it was still the Herald Independent talking about a vision I had for Midland STEM. I think the Lord put this on my heart to basically provide an education option in Fairfield County, and here we are, 11 years later with a new facility you're going to see here. Flip it back. So basically, we're a kindergarten through to 4K through 12th grade school. We are a tuition-free public school. There's no tuition that's charged at the school. We get state and federal funding. A lot of people have asked me, hey, where do you get your money from? We get state and federal funds, and we don't get any local funds. The local school district gets that. We're STEM focused, but we also have athletics, music, dance, music, STEMbotics programs as well. So we offer a variety of education options for our children. Next. Currently, we have a little over 305 students, K-4 through 12th grade. We're never going to be a large school. I always tell people that. Our charter is up to 400 students. And again, our charter, we're under the Erskine, the Charter Institute at Erskine. That is our authorizer. Think of them as our school district because that's what they are. And we got our approval from the South Carolina Public Charter School District years ago. And when Erskine came about, we switched over to Erskine. Although we have, our kids come from 13 zip codes across the state. I get asked this a lot of times too, well, how many kids are from Fairfield County? And that's a fair question. I'd say probably 90% of our kids are from Fairfield County. So that's where the vast majority of our kids attend. But charter schools in South Carolina, if somebody lives in Greenville and they want to drive to Midland STEM, we have to accept them. So we don't, unlike the magnet school, which is a great option as well, as long as you haven't been expelled from a school, you can enroll at our school. So it's not a testing in or anything like that. It's open to everybody. And one of the things I tell people is we're the most diverse school in the county. If you look at the demographics of the local public school system and the local private school, which are great options as well, we've got about 55% Caucasian, 40% African American, and then other rounding out that 100%. So again, we are the most diverse school in the county. Next one. And I tell you, it was really a big get for us to hire Dr. T.K. Kennedy. He's an Air Force, excuse me, no, I'm the Air Force veteran. Army. He's the Army veteran. So he's an Army veteran. He's been the athletic director at Richland Northeast. He's been the head of the school at Legion Academy, a charter school up in Rock Hill. And he's been the head of the school at York Prep as well. So we've got, this is how we look at things, is we've got, there's three legs to this stool. We've got great new leadership. We've got a great facility. And when we, probably in the next couple weeks, we're going to have a flag raising ceremony similar to a ribbon cutting. And we love you all to be there. So we've got the facility. We've got some good new leadership. And then the last thing is we need to get our academics up. And that's one of the things we brought Dr. Kennedy in here, and we're going to be improving that as well. So I turned it over to Dr. Kennedy at this time.
Thank y'all for having us. I really appreciate your time. It's very important to us, especially in the Midland STEM, smaller learning community. But I do want to assure the council that we're going to be a contributing factor to this great county. Myself, I've been a member since 23 years, a resident of Fairfield County. I spent most of my education in Rock Hill and in the Richland County area. So this is my opportunity to in my way, give back. And I thank the kids in Fairfield County. I see them all the time, whether going in the grocery stores and things of that nature, building a relationship. And that's the beauty of Midland STEM. Our motto, respect, responsibility, and relationships, and we really mean that. And being a small school, we're able to touch our students at pre-K. We go from 4th grade, 4-year-olds, all the way to 12th grade. And we're going to continue to grow that up to 400 students and continue to build those relationships with families. And that's what makes it work for us. And we definitely want to have any of you out to the campus at any time and come visit and see what we do. We're STEM focused. We want to enhance that. Particularly with a lot of the industries that's coming to our area. We want to be a good supporting force for those companies. And so we got to provide those types of students to it. So in our academics, we got some work to do. It's easy work. It's easy lifting. I think a lot of it had a lot to do with the location that we were in. They were an attempt site for many years. This is the 11th year of its existence. And this is the first time they had the opportunity to call a school a home. And when you hear a young kid, a 4-year-old, 5-year-old say, hey, we're in real school, that means a lot. And so as a principal or administrator or CEO, having that relationship, talking with the students is very important to us. We also offer athletics. We don't have every sport that the local high schools or the surrounding high schools offer. If your student comes to our school, you can participate, and we don't have that sport, they can participate at the local high school. We have several kids that play football for Fairfield Central High School, Chester High School, and Great Falls High School. So it's a great atmosphere when, especially on game day, when each one of them wearing their jerseys on campus. But we'll continue to enhance their strength and athleticism with our physical education program, and also along with the academics. We want to get strong teachers in, but we can work with our kids from kindergarten all the way up through high school, knowing the building relationship, knowing what the strengths and weaknesses of each individual student. Our new location, you can't see it on Google, Google Earth yet. I mean, you might be able to see it, but it may take you to the old site. So be careful when you come out to the campus, but that is our address right there on 854 US Highway 321, Business South, Winsboro, South Carolina. So don't trust your GPS, but just come there. If you come down 321 like you're going to the old Rockland Church, and you go past that Shell station, you went too far. Just back up, we're on the left. So we appreciate all your support. And again, please come out and visit our site, and we'd love to have you out. And thank you for your support. We look forward to working with you.
Before you walk off for a minute, any council members wish to be heard?
I just want to say it's a beautiful facility, and I wish you all the best, and I know you'll do good. And Mr. Thomas, appreciate your dream.
Thanks, sir.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Green?
Thank you so much for coming tonight. We certainly appreciate you coming and letting us know how things are going with your new school. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I will, oh, Mr.
Yeah,
Roseberry.
I just want to echo Ms. Green and Mr. Gilbert. Thank y'all for what you're doing, for the kids in Fairfield County.
Thank you, sir.
I just got one. What's your class capacity, average?
Right now, we're probably about 20 to 1, with a maximum of 28 students per grade level. We have increased in some areas when there was a high need, particularly in middle school. So we have sponged that a little bit, but traditionally it's 28 students per grade level. Very important for those relationships for us.
Yeah, I'll just echo that too. Y'all, I can see y'all are doing an outstanding job, and just keep it up. That's great for all the
Thank
kids.
you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Ruff.
I'll just say, I was there when y'all did the groundbreaking. I think me and some other council members were there for the groundbreaking. And the other day, to actually see the building and have a chance to tour it, I know y'all are ecstatic about being there, and we just appreciate everything you do for the kids of Fairfield County and other counties as well.
Thank you.
And I would encourage all of the other council members, if they get a chance, I know you'd be glad to take them on a tour.
Absolutely.
And show them that facility. That gymnasium is going to be nice once it's completed.
Yes, sir.
But thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
We're now enrolling too, so call it if you got to know anybody that's looking for a place. We'd love to have them. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Next, we are down to item 7, first public comment session. Dr. Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of council. John Jones.
Howdy. John Jones, District 4. Before I get started, correct me if I'm wrong, but or if you want me to sit down because I'm out of step, I'm going to talk about the animal control ordinance. Cool? Good to go. There's been several different times that I've heard people talking about the animal control ordinance, and people talking about the animal shelter, and it seems like an ongoing problem. It seems like it's a round robin. Every year it's the same thing, and just a little bit of money goes to them to solve the current problem, not the problem that keeps reasserting itself. The laws in this county probably have to change. They have to change in such a way that people are not just cruelizing, abusing, abandoning their animals, overbreeding their animals without circumstances coming back to hit them in the pocketbook. Until the law changes where human beings are made to be responsible, they won't be responsible. And you're going to see those same animals languishing in those cages. I got 4 rescues myself. Can't take in any more, but I've done my part. Y'all, laws need to have some teeth. Thanks for listening.
John Goldbach.
Good evening, Don Goldbach, District 2, and very similar comments, I think, to John, who just spoke about the animal ordinance. I think I'm trying to provide a perspective for the committee that's actually writing the ordinance, and I think the ordinance, the way I look at it, should provide the basis for holding people accountable. You know, holding people accountable. The ordinance should not put undue regulatory burden on law-abiding citizens. You know, law-abiding breeders, law-abiding farmers. We heard a lot from them several meetings ago. It should provide the basis for holding people accountable. So I believe that a well-written ordinance, if enforced, should solve the problem. So what is the problem? Let's say it's an overcrowded animal shelter. Why is it overcrowded? Well, because there's irresponsible pet owners. So, like John just stated, if these pet owners are held accountable for their actions, either through fines or there may be some creative ways to penalize them for being irresponsible, that should solve the problem. And I think when writing the ordinance, if we focus on that, how are we going to solve that problem? Maybe that'll put some things in there that we hadn't thought of before. The next part, I'd like to thank Chief Deputy Brad Douglas for some information he shared with me. And it has to do with something Joe Shaw wanted to do, or still wants to do, and that's to certify her animal control officers as Class 3 officers. The interesting thing is every law enforcement person in South Carolina has to go through the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy to be trained and certified. And it doesn't have to be through the sheriff's office. That was kind of the key understanding from Mr. Douglas. They don't have to be through the sheriff's department, the sheriff's office. They can be through the animal control department, and someone there can set up, I don't know if it's set up an account or just have a number that they're associated with the SC Criminal Justice Academy. But the sheriff's office is willing to help work with the animal control folks to get this set up so that Director Shaw can get her animal control officers certified through this academy. So I would just like to offer that up to you for consideration. If council would ask our administrator and Director Shaw to pursue that path, maybe she can get her animal control officers certified more quickly. Thank you very much for your time.
Kathy Falk.
Ooh, these tall people. Good evening, Council. Kathy Falk, resident of Fairfield County and president of Hoof and Paw. I'm very happy to see that you are discussing an ad hoc committee to review the proposed animal ordinance. In an effort to hopefully put the community at ease, I want to point out a few errors and misconceptions in the second reading of the proposed animal ordinances. First of all, the fees associated with registration. It is not the county council's goal to try and make money from these fees. The ordinance read $50 per dog and was supposed to read $50 per kennel to include show dogs, breeding dogs, hunting dogs, etc., all kennels, which could have a great number of dogs, so it's just a small fee. Since the amount of the fee is really not the important issue, that fee could be reduced to $25 per kennel because it really doesn't matter. What matters is getting all dogs on record. These registrations are going to help animal control get lost dogs back to their owners quickly. It will also help to identify the breeders who are breeding responsibly dogs that are appropriate to breed. Another point to understand, as discussed in the first committee meeting, these registrations would be the first phase of the process. Our Director of Animal Control, Joanne Shaw, recommends that all dogs in Fairfield County should eventually be registered. A misconception of the second reading was the limit of the number of dogs that you may have. Our current ordinance reads that a person may have 3 dogs in close proximity. This number was increased to 5 dogs in close proximity. So, if you live in an apartment complex or a housing development on a small lot or a trailer park, for example, this will apply to you. If you live on a farm or even a couple of acres, this will not apply to you. These are obviously just a few bullet points, but I hope that it helps to point them out. Council is trying very hard to come up with an ordinance that will benefit all dogs in the county, reduce the overwhelming number of strays and owner surrenders of all breeds, making it a safer, more humane place. I'm going to run out of time, so I'm just going to skip right on over that I would like very much to serve on the upcoming committee that you are considering. Thank you, Council, for your efforts on this. I know it's not been easy, and on behalf of Hoof and Paw, many Fairfield County residents, and everyone who works hard in animal welfare, we appreciate you. There was more, not much more, but just a little bit more. Would you like to hear it? No, ma'am, that's your time. Yep, thank you. And good night.
Boo Major.
A little adjusting of the microphone. I'm very loud, so I hope I'm not going to blast people out of here. I'm not going to get too much into the animal ordinance, but I am also one that is very interested in this ad hoc committee and being able to serve on that committee. I am a District 2 resident and have been in Fairfield County. I bought my property in 2015, and I'm from Columbia and lived out in Blythewood for 20 plus years. And so I feel like I really have had the experience of knowing, a lot about the animal situation. I will tell you that that Kathy was just handing me some statistics for you guys that she wasn't able to get to. And just so you know the number of cats and dogs that have come through the Fairfield County Animal Shelter in 22-23, there were 512 cats. There were 468 dogs. In 23-24, there were 610 cats and 645 dogs. And currently, 2024, up until now, they have had 593 cats and 385 dogs. So I think if you look at that, 385 dogs so far, if you even pulled it out for the year, that's a dog a day that is coming into the shelter. Yes, they do get the dogs and the cats are finding homes, but not at this rate. They're just not. So I just really would appreciate you guys considering me. Certainly Kathy is obviously very well qualified, and I would love to be part of the committee, and I thank you for your time.
Jeff Schaefer.
Good evening, council members. Start the clock. I too would like to be on that committee, and as you all know, I am a breeder. listed in the AKC and listed on Google. Search me out, Schaefer Ridge Dogos. I'm listed as the #2 reputable breeder in the United States, so I think I might be an asset to all this. I have to pat myself on the back for a second. But before I pat myself, I want to pat you folks. It's coming to the end. November's coming, and election time is coming, and we're going to see some changes. This is probably the last time I'm going to be coming up here for a long time, because I realize that my voice and my opinions and my thoughts don't get much anywhere, unfortunately. But I will repeat the same theory that I said 2 years ago, 5 years ago, before this council, with this council, and I hope not the next council, that you have to focus on the citizens. That's your job. Us, not you. And when it comes to us, we need things done the right way, the proper way. Taking care of the animal shelter is one thing. It's very important. Ridiculous, the situation it's in. But what's more ridiculous, in my opinion, is the fire department, the police department, EMS. We don't have safety in the community. How do you expect people to come here and move here and be safe and feel that their house is not going to burn down tomorrow? I don't know. But that should have been a priority of yours, and it was not. And someone's got to answer for that. And I think you're going to be answering when it comes election time, that people are going to say, well, you couldn't do the job? Maybe Don or Calvin or Sarah or any of the new people are going to come and change those seats out. And hopefully when they do, things will change, because we don't have a vision in the county for the public to recognize. There's no statement being said, this is what we're going to do for you, and we're going to do it within this time frame, and this is how it's going to go. Any questions? No, because it hasn't been presented. And unfortunately, until you present that, we're going to have a problem. I also understand that in January, the elections of the vice chair and the chairman are up for a new seat, and I'm hoping that Peggy and Dan will have a seat there, and we'll get a new vision from other people. You did your job, and now it's time for somebody else. And I would like to thank you all for your work and effort. And I know that being a politician, you got to have thick skin. I'm not a politician. I don't have to have thick skin. I'll just say thank you for your efforts, and good night.
Randy Bright.
Randy Bright, Ridgeway, District 1. Any and every council county meeting agenda should have the theme of progress forward. Tonight's agenda speaks just the opposite of that. Let's look at some of the examples. Accommodation and Tax Committee. We're coming on to the year anniversary of when we first started on advertising this. Well, we didn't really advertise in this, and we're here today, and it's going to be at least over a year since this committee was attempted to be formed. Lack of progress, lack of effort into making the progress. The next item we see is ad hoc committee for the animal ordinance. 2016, we were working on the animal ordinance. We got a stopgap animal ordinance in 2016. Oh, we'll get more later. 8 years later, we're still kicking the can down the road. Progress, reverse, progress. We can't have that. Administrator research. Since 2021, we've had 3 administrators, 2 interims, 1 2-week administrator, and yet here we are. We started to conduct a search for 13 months. We could not come together to decide on who to hire, how to hire, what plan to follow, where to go. And now it's 2 years later, and we still don't have a county administrator. We've got to have more sense of urgency. We've got to have a sense of progress. And when we talk about progress, we are still on these agendas for all this year, we have some 130 goals and strategies in the comprehensive plan alone that we could be discussing. We have another 50 goals and strategies in the housing strategic plan and the strategic plan for economic development. All told, we've got more than 200 goals and strategies, all on record, all products of citizen surveys. We've got citizen surveys enough to start a forest, but we're not responding to them. We've got to do a better job with a sense of urgency, a sense of planning, and a sense of every meeting agenda should be progress forward themed. Thank you for listening. I appreciate that.
No one else signed up to speak, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts. Next, we are down to public hearings, none. Number 9, ordinance, resolutions, and orders, none. 10, board and commission of minutes for information only, none. And number 11, board and commission appointments. Item A, accommodations and hospitality tax committee. Mr. Killian, if you want to give kind of an explanation on that.
Mr. Chairman, what we've listed on your agenda tonight are the areas that these folks have to come from. As far as the state law requires certain folks be from certain industries to be able to serve on that committee. You have to have somebody from a cultural organization, a couple from lodging, and somebody from the hospitality industry. Then you can have some at-large folks. But you have 7 appointments to fill. You've received some applications. You have not received any more since the last time we discussed it. In fact, you've actually lost a couple folks that have withdrawn their applications, but you do have before you tonight a few applications to consider if council so chooses to do that.
Okay, if we decide not to do it this evening, is there a motion that needs to be made for it to go forward to the next meeting?
Go ahead.
I believe you need to make a motion.
Okay.
You can make a motion to appoint folks, or you can make a motion to table if you want to, but one item that I would suggest either way you go is if you want to go ahead and open the process and receive applications, we can go ahead and get the applications in here so that whenever the committee is appointed, they'll be ready to move forward. So we could open that process. After you delayed the last time, we chose not to open the process. But a motion one way or the other needs to be made, either to appoint some folks or to table the action to your next council meeting. Mr. Hooks is right. Since it's on the agenda, you got to do something with it one way or the other.
I'd make a motion to table it and to reopen for applications.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded for 11A to table it and open it up for applications. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Let the record reflect 7-0 on 11A to table it and open up the process for more applications.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I just want to ask a question. Where will it be advertised at?
I'm not sure how it's been done in the past, but I'll get with Mr. Stevens and we'll make sure that the word gets out that the application process is open. We'll either go, I'm sure it'll be on our website, probably on our social media, but we'll make sure folks know that applications are available.
And one of the other things is we have to certainly make sure that they are aligned with some of the industries and other things that we need, so that essentially someone from the cultural organization, lodging, and hospitality certainly should apply.
Let me make sure we're on the same page here. We're talking about applications for funding, not applications for appointments, but we can do both. We can make sure both, that word's out there for both.
Next, we are down to item 12, old business, none. 13, new business. Item A, discussion of ad hoc committee to review animal control ordinance.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to begin the process of forming an ad hoc committee to assess Fairfield County Council in revising Chapter 4, Animals of the Code of Ordinances, Fairfield County, South Carolina, and direct the interim county administrator and county attorney to prepare information pertaining to the composition, scope of work, task, support, and timing of the ad hoc committee, and bring that information back to county council at the next meeting for further consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded to form a ad hoc committee and all the other language that Dan said. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, go ahead.
No, I just would say, and in all of this, we're going to find out how many we're going to select, how they will be selected, and all that, and we'll go through that.
Yeah, if I understand the motion correctly, what you want us to actually lay the
Exactly.
parameters out for the committee.
That's what it is, yes.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Let the record reflect 7-0 on 13A. 14A, County Administrator's Report, Mr. Killian.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the first item, I want to give you just a brief update on the process we have begun for your administrator, I hate to use the word permanent administrator, but regular administrator. No administrator is ever permanent. In my line of work, I've understood that all too well. But the position has been posted with an application deadline of November the 22nd. If we feel the need, we can certainly extend that, but it's been posted. I think Mr. Stevens provided a couple of places. It's certainly on our website. It's on our LinkedIn account, and he's also done a press release with information on how people can apply. But we've also posted it on the International City County Management Association website. The ICMA is the go-to organization that anybody in this line of work is a member of, and that's where they look to find job postings. I've also posted it at the National Association of Counties website, the National Association of County Administrators website, and it's also on the South Carolina Association of Counties website. So we should get plenty of coverage throughout the Southeast and even nationally and internationally with NACO and ICMA. But the goal is to get applications in here by November the 22nd. I would like to be able to provide you at least a brief general overview of the applications that have come in at your meeting on November the 25th, which will just be the Monday after the Friday that they're due. I will tell you we've already received two today. One came earlier and one came in today. I have not looked at them, but we do have people that are finding it. That's what we want to find out. So hopefully by your next meeting or your November 25th meeting, we'll be able to give you an update on the number of applications and where we're going to go from there. But we'll have to start considering, council will have to start considering reviewing those and then whittling it down for interviews and that kind of thing. But the process has been started, and hopefully it'll move well over the next month or two as we try to close in on the administrator for you. I'll be glad to answer any questions if anybody have any.
I think one of the things that, the public certainly would be interested in knowing how this relates to the upcoming election and all of those kinds of things, because the consideration that we've had here is taking a look at an administrator and having input from whomever is elected in the upcoming election and going forward after that.
Well, I think anytime anybody that's in this profession understands the election cycles that they're involved in, we will have people that will contact us or contact me asking about the election cycle and what council is, what's the makeup of council. Had I gotten that question 3 months ago, if we had started this process earlier, we likely would have had a smaller candidate pool because of the possibility of the election turnover. Now, that's every 2 years, but we felt like it probably was best to wait until the election does occur. We know who is going to be on council, and then those folks can be involved in the selection process as it moves forward, if that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Killian. Next, we are down to...
Mr. Chairman, if I might, I know this is not on the agenda, but I'd like to give a very quick FEMA Disaster Recovery Center update. The reason it's not on the agenda is we didn't get confirmation that they were going to be here until yesterday. We've been working with them over the past couple of weeks, trying to pin down a date. The Boykin Center was approved by FEMA, but they had not told us when they would be here. I got a call yesterday morning at 10:30, wanting to know if we could open the building at 1 o'clock yesterday to set up the facility. We couldn't get anybody there to open it up for them. They did open it up this morning at 7:30. They are receiving walk-in applications now at the Boykin Center, and it's through Wednesday. They only set up for 3 days. I understand we've already had over 600 folks apply for individual assistance through the FEMA online process or by telephone. There are a lot of folks, though, that don't have computers or access to that kind of thing, so that's what this walk-in center is for. So Mr. Stevens has put out a press release, State EMD has put out a press release, FEMA has put out a press release. We're trying to get the word out that if anybody has a need for individual assistance and they need some personalized help, they can get it at the Boykin Center through Wednesday. So just want to make sure everybody knew that.
Item 15, Clerk to Council's report, none. Item 16, County Council time.
I do.
Ms. Swearingen.
Excuse me. Have we had any luck in hiring a person of the emergency management thing?
We have conducted 2 interviews. We have another one this week. Candidates are promising, one in particular, so I think we're going to be able to move pretty quickly unless something falls apart.
Will they be required to have FEMA knowledge, the knowledge of FEMA?
Yes, ma'am. And in fact, the FEMA process is something everybody that's in this business goes through. I forget what the training is called, but they're required to go through it. So everybody we've talked to so far has had that training.
Okay. Have we hired an assistant?
Yes, ma'am. He started 2 weeks ago today, I believe.
Is he FEMA qualified?
He does not have a...
Mr. Killian, nothing against Ms. Swearingen. Who you hire is up under your scope, and I think Ms. Swearingen can talk to you outside the council because that's a county administrator employee, and what you're looking for and the qualifications can be handled at another time.
I'm trying to find out if we are working on a plan in case another atrocity thing happens, if we have got something in place for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Broadwater said that she had been doing some traveling, maybe to Chicago. Could she maybe give us some kind of an update on, if she's making any progress? I know she's going across the water, so she had said all those things the other night to me. So she might give us some kind of an update on.
I'll see if she can come to a meeting soon and provide an update.
An update, okay. Do we have an update on our audit? Are we coming along with it?
Fingers crossed. They're going to be, they're finished with their field work. I think they will be back in here in November. Well, I say they're not finished. They're not quite finished. They'll be back in here in November, but we're still targeting before the end of the year to have you an audit.
So, and that'll be on target by the end of the year?
It has to be to the Comptroller General's office by January the 1st if you don't get an extension, if you don't ask for an extension. That's, when I say January 1st, that's what is in the statute. The Comptroller General understands with holidays and all that sometimes it slips into January a little bit. Generally doesn't cause you a problem, but we're still targeting January 1st or before.
And I know that I'm not going to be very popular with this, but I'm just going to tell you, I think that myself, I think it's time that we bring back the second public comment session. I don't know what the other 6 of you think, but we had somebody that wanted to speak last time, kind of off, set a note up, it was in the paper. I just think it's time that to try to move this county forward, we need to put bygones behind us, and we need to move forward. And so I don't know if anybody else feels that way or not, but I make a motion that we put the second comment session back on the agenda.
Now we are down to, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of things. I just want to say that I hope we move forward this ad hoc committee. I think, I know this has been going on for such a long time, but I really think that having citizens on this committee working together on kind of both sides, 2 different views, and come together and bring us back something that I think that will hopefully work for everybody, and we can resolve this soon. And so we're going to work on that. And also, as far as second comment time, I have been in favor of that, and I still am. But I've kind of come to where, and I think I mentioned this before, that maybe we need to bring it back with a compromise, and each person can select either first or second comment, so you don't have maybe the same people speaking at the same ones all the time. That's just an option I thought about. Maybe it would be a compromise to bring it back, but anyway, that's where I am. Thank you.
Next, we are down to executive session. In executive session, discussion of matters relating to the proposed location, expansion, or provision of services encouraging location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the area served by Fairfield County pursuant to South Carolina Code 30-4-70A5.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Let the record reflect 7-0. We are now in executive session. All right, we are back from executive session. I will entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and properly seconded to come out of executive session. To put on the record, there was no vote or action taken in executive session. All in favor of coming out of executive session?
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect 7-0. We are now out of executive session. Is there any other motions?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect 7-0. We are now adjourned.